they don't get that going today, and somehow Watson's able to, punch in a couple of touchdowns early. You don't want to have to be coming from behind against this group. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough in that pass rush department. They are strong up front.
All right, Mark, looking forward to listening to you on Sports Radio 610. Mark will be calling the game in just a little bit along with Andre Ware and John Harris. Thanks so much, Mark, and have a great game.
Thank you.
All right, let's turn to some of our quick hits of the week, some of our top stories. This week it was all about Mitchell Trubisky and Desean Watson. The Bears moved up to the number 2 spot to draft Trubisky back in 2017. Desean Watson said they didn't really show too much interest in him, and he was asked earlier this week if there was any extra motivation heading into today's game.
Nah, it's no motivation. That's what the organization went with. I had no ties, nothing against the Chicago Bears or the organization. I mean, of course, the media is going to make stories. And like you said, for those fans, they're going to, of course, say something about it. But, for me personally, that's no motivation and nothing like that. They did what they did and just keep pushing forward. And they thought that was the, best situation for themselves at that time. So for me, it was just no motivation. I respect and got all the respect for those players and coaches and ownership at, the Chicago Bears.
Well, the Texans defense has shown improvement in recent weeks. Defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver said that they simplified a few things over the bye week, which have started to pay off. And J.J. Watt feels very encouraged by the performance so far.
Yeah, I think we're playing better as of late than we were earlier in the year, no question. I think that obviously we've been in a tough situation with guys going down, injuries, whatever it may be, and having to put other guys in those situations and moving guys into positions that they may not be in, et cetera. But that's the National Football League. Teams are dealing with that every single week, especially with COVID and everything. So you got to figure it out and find a way. I think some of the simplification of things and the ability to just focus on the things that we need to do has helped. And I think that we have improved over the season. I still don't think we're as good as we want to be on defense, but I think that we want to be in a position where we can give us a chance to win every game. And that's what we need to do for the last 4 weeks.
And safety and special teamer Michael Thomas was nominated for the Texans' Walter Payton Man of the Year. Thomas is involved in a number of social justice and community initiatives. Recently, he set up Victory Mondays, where players can donate their game-worn gear, and auction proceeds can benefit a number of different charities, including one that Thomas is very passionate about, setting up scholarship funds for students that are headed to HBCUs. And Thomas was asked this week what it would mean to him to win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
It's humbling just getting nominated here, but if I was to actually win, somebody who went, again, undrafted 2012 and, spent a couple years on practice squad, it would only add to, my testament to my journey. And I wouldn't stop doing anything that I'm doing because that's just who I am. But it would mean a lot to me. I would probably take any resources that I got from that award and use it toward, trying to give back to the HBCU scholarships that I'm, raising funds for. And that's just what I do, Mark. I wouldn't stop. I would just keep giving back to my communities, keep trying to spread love, keep trying to, just provide resources to my community, man. But it means a lot to me, man, especially coming from where I've been.
Congrats again to Michael Thomas on that one. And if you're ever around that guy for more than about 12 seconds, you're in a great mood. So very well deserved. Agreed. His nickname, by the way, when he was at Aldine Nimitz was Jacob the Juker because he could make moves. And Jacob is his middle name, so that's just kind of one of those weird little nicknames he got. But hey, we're talking about inactives, guys that will not play today for the Houston Texans. And Brandon Cooks is the headliner. You will not see him today. He's got that neck injury that he's dealing with. Elsewhere, tight end Pharaoh Brown still dealing with a concussion. And then kind of the bigger names that you see are Phillip Gaines and John Reed. Two cornerbacks from an already kind of nicked up secondary without Bradley Roby. Not going to be able to go today. So that bears watching, and you see some of these other names. But what this means is, Deepi, Isaiah Coulter is active for the first time. So the rookie is going to get to at least be on the active roster. And Isaiah Coulter is the question from Nakib. He says, will he play today? Like we mentioned, he's in the 53, or he's active today. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get because I think Stephen Mitchell will get the snaps ahead of him with QT and Hansen probably starting at wide receiver. Those two did really well last week. I think keep an eye on Stephen Mitchell. just because of the way this offense works and the way Desean Watson distributes the ball, I think Mitchell gets his touches today, and maybe we will see just a little bit more of Coulter than we thought.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't start Coulter in your fantasy lineups today. I think it's just he just needs the game reps, right?
Yeah.
He just needs some time, and this is when he's going to get his opportunity. And if anyone can give a guy an opportunity, it's Desean Watson, because he has really helped a lot of different receivers catch passes this year, even passes of over 20 yards or more. Last week, Kiki Qt, Chad Hansen, elevated from the practice squad. They're back up on the active roster today, really making a name for themselves, because this roster could use those wide receivers as well as the tight ends. And there you see number 82, Isaiah Coulter,
He's a big guy.
the rookie. He's really, really big out there. You see CJ Procise out there because David Johnson, this came out on Saturday, that David Johnson placed on the COVID IR list because he missed practice on Thursday for personal reasons. Romeo alluded to a little bit Friday, and so we can't really read too much into it, but I would assume that it's not him that has COVID, but maybe a family member, and so obviously they can't take those precautions for social distancing reasons and whatnot. No David Johnson, might see some more Procise, and a lot of Duke Johnson today at Soldier Field.
And Procise, you remember, missed last week with a stomach illness that was not COVID related, so Bears watching to see how he's, after a week, been out. Let's see what Procise can do, because the week before that he had a touchdown at Detroit and made some things happen, Deepi.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Let's get into some more of your questions presented by Churrasco's. Betsy wants to know, how can I watch the game? Betsy, I feel your pain. All of you people that have DirecTV or no access to CBS right now, you can actually watch the game on the Houston Texans mobile app. I feel like we're trying to get the word out about that, but you know what? If you don't know, now you do. Download the Houston Texans mobile app. You can also, of course, listen on Sports Radio 610. Mark, John, and Andre will be calling the game.
And if you have a smart TV, Betsy, you can also get this app. It's called Locast, Locast, and you can watch it. So that's an easy way to do it too. Danny in Lufkin has probably got his eyes on Kiki Qt today, because Kiki is from Lufkin. But he's checking us out, so thank you, Danny, for watching and tuning in. Well, Cindy wants to know, will it snow in Chicago today? And while I'm not a meteorologist, I like to joke around and play a fake meteorologist, and I don't think there's going to be enough precipitation in the air to cause some snow. So, no, it's just going to be cold, Cindy.
I was going to say, I just looked up the weather, and they've been talking about it all day, but you can see it's clear, it's sunny, no chance, very low chance of precipitation. Also, not a lot of wind, which I think will bode well for Desean Watson, because you remember that Cleveland game, it was rainy, it was windy, and it wasn't really great for the passing receiving game.
It's atypical for Chicago. I mean, it's the windy city,
The windy city, for no wind in Chicago, this is about as good of conditions as you can get, especially when you've got no Brandon Cooks and your receivers. A lot of your receivers are out today.
For sure. And we joked with Kiki Qt when we talked with him on Tuesday. He said, I don't like the cold. I'm used to the wind because I played my college ball in Lubbock, so looks like he's only going to get one of those things today in the cold, but it's not going to be anything unbearable, Deepi.
No, it's not. And you know what? I love a good snow game, but I like it when it's not the Texans that are playing in it. Is that selfish?
No, it's all right. It's all right.
They get more ratings.
They won one in Green Bay and they lost the other one. So
you were there in 2012. It was a primetime, rainy, cold game.
Yeah, it wasn't too cold. It was like in the high 40s, low 50s, but it was sloppy and wet. It was a slugfest. Both those teams, the Bears and the Texans, came into the game at 7-1. It's one of the best wins that the Texans franchise has ever had. It was really impressive, and it was one that was, they'd win 3 more, and they'd go to 11-1 that season before things kind of fell apart in December and January.
Both those teams, I mean, so they were such good teams back in 2012. Jay Cutler and Matt Schaub, and how things have changed. But you know what? Here's the next generation of quarterbacks, so I think it's a lot of fun to watch. Desean Watson and Trubisky, and Desean getting a lot of questions about the Bears passing up him in 2017. Not a lot of questions in Houston, a lot of questions more in Chicago. I think that's the underlying story line this week, and I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on Trubisky in today's game.
Well, understandably so, because you got to remember Trubisky and Watson played in the same conference. And what did Watson do his final year at Clemson? Well, he won the national title.
Right.
And I think that raised a lot of eyebrows. Well, why are you going with this guy when this guy won and has all these intangibles and has done all these good things in what Watson has? But they made their choice. Both of them were in a Pro Bowl together. But
I covered that Pro Bowl.
You were there,
the
but it still is a head scratcher that they chose to pull the trigger there. All right, Christian has this. What do you expect from Chad Hansen today? And let's kind of take a broader view of things. I've seen on Twitter a lot of folks saying, Desean Watson's doing this all by himself. And look, I'm one of the biggest Desean Watson fans that there is. You've known that. I say, hey, did the Texans have a chance when number 4 is upright? Yes. But to say that Kiki Qt and Chad Hansen are just some bums, I think you're really off base there. We've seen QT have good games before this season. We had heard in August how Chad Hansen was looking good, and I know, hey, that's August. But look, Desean Watson said the guy can play, and clearly he can. Both of them had 100 yards receiving. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do that today, but they can play. They're capable. Are they Brandon Cooks? No. But they're not bums like a lot of people are saying. And I think there's a comfort there with Steven Mitchell that Watson has. So just chill. Look at who's in and look at who's out. Is number 4 in? Yes. Okay, he's not out, so the Texans have a chance whenever he's playing.
I think the big thing with wide receivers and quarterbacks is just time and building that chemistry. And I think that Chad Hansen and Kiki Qt, to your point, they did put in a lot of time this offseason.
Yeah.
And Desean's talked about it. We heard from Chad Hansen back in training camp. He followed Desean around the country. Wherever Desean was training, he was with
too,
him.
yeah.
Kiki too. They were in Arizona. They were in Georgia. They wanted to build that chemistry. They wanted to build that trust. They knew that was really the only chance they had if they were on the field to get passes thrown their way from Desean. And Desean was more than happy to give them the opportunity. And look how it's paying off, because when the season started, Mark alluded to it, or Mark said it straight out. You had Will Fuller, you had Brandon Cooks, you had Randall Cobb, you had Kenny Stills. You have none of those guys playing in today's game. So it's next man up. And now is not the time to start building that chemistry. They'd been working on that this entire offseason.
And it says a hell of a lot about each side. One guy is the face of the franchise, one of the best players in the NFL, and he's throwing to guys who, quote-unquote, aren't of the highest stature and are not as known. Well, he knows how things work. Guys get hurt, guys get traded, guys get suspended, things happen. You might have to rely on these fellas someday, so let's throw to them. And then on the other hand, those guys scratching and clawing to make sure that they stay on an NFL roster, because it was not assured that QT would be here prior to the season starting. Chad Hansen, nobody had heard of him or nobody had thought much about him before this preseason had started. They want to do everything they can to get reps with Desean Watson, because Hansen said it himself. I wasn't getting passes thrown my way because I was catching scout team stuff from A.J. McCarron and Alex Magoo. So both sides really, it's paying dividends for them now. And I know that, look, you got to always put the caveat out there. The Texans are 4 games under 500, yes. But offensively, they made some things work last week, and it's doing a lot of part to what they did in the months of May and June and July.
Yeah, and one guy who really had to wait for his opportunity, especially after week 2 and in previous years, Kiki Qt. He has made the most of his opportunities both on offense, both on special teams. You had a chance to catch up with him a little bit earlier this week.
We've got wide receiver Kiki Qt with us, and the smile is back. The confidence looks like it's back as well. Kiki, what's different about you these last 4 or 5 weeks? What's going on?
I'm still the same guy. Most importantly, just being able to stick to my routine, sticking to being myself, and just continue to work every single day just to get 1% better. So just to be able to be back out there the last 3 weeks has been very big to me, and I just hope to continue to improve.
Yeah, how do you keep that confidence up? How do you keep from getting discouraged? Because you were clearly ready to take advantage when opportunity called, and you never really got down, or at least you never got down enough to keep you from making an impact when you came back.
Yeah, just like I said before, just trusting in my abilities and believing in who I am, as I've always done throughout this career of football so far. So, just continue to work. Bad things happen. You learn from those mistakes. So, everything just continues to go forward.
You get the 141 yards on Sunday against the Colts, and we just heard from Desean Watson earlier in the week. He said, "Hey, that's not all he can do. He can even go higher." What's it like when you hear your quarterback say that? Because he said, and Kiki will tell you that too.
Right. It just shows how much confidence he has in me. I feel like maybe I could get more. But just making the routine plays and getting the W's is what's most important to me.
All right. What have you seen differently from your quarterback this year? He's spreading the ball around, and he's been very, very effective. It's just simply a matter of he's taking what the defense has given him?
Right, no doubt. He's taking control of our offense. He's the quarterback for a reason. He's a lot of things slowed down for him. He's picking out different coverages and getting us in the great looks against defense. So this year he's done tremendous, just like in the past years. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
All right, the Chicago Bears are the opponent on Sunday. Tell me about the secondary you're going to be matched up with.
There's a good secondary. Good front seven, great defense that we'll play against this season. So, we're familiar with Desean. Eddie Jackson's back there. call for, guys that got a lot of good talent, but we have talent on our side as well. So we'll be ready for this Sunday as well.
All right, let's talk a little bit about special teams. You've been returning some punts. How crazy do you have to be to return a punt or a kickoff?
You got to be a little crazy, just to take those hits, with those big guys flying down there 100 miles an hour. So, you got to be a tough guy for that, but it's just something, that helps me just show another element of my game that I can take to the next level.
All right, it's going to be a little chilly on Sunday, and there's always going to be wind in Chicago, but that's not going to be a problem for you. You played your college ball in Lubbock, so you're set for that, right?
Right, yeah, I'm prepared for the wind. So Lubbock, 30-mile-an-hour wind, dust storms, things like that. But never been to Chicago, so I'm a Texas kid, not used to the cold weather, but I get accustomed to it.
You'll be fine, man. You're Red Raider tough, so it'll be all right. All right, Kiki Qt, we appreciate the time. Best of luck on Sunday. Best of luck the rest of the way. Can't wait to talk with you again very, very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good stuff from Kiki Qt. You see him warming up, getting loose before the game here. About 40 minutes, just under 40 minutes until kickoff. I bet if I watched him long enough, I was joking, I could guess what song he's singing because he's really feeling the music out there at Soldier Field, and we're really feeling what he's been doing on the field so far. Drew, I know you've got some players to watch for today's game. You talk about it on Extra Points every week. Who was it this week?
Yeah, this week on Extra Points, my guy was Jordan Akins because I think the Bears will have noticed and seen what Desean was able to do with Hansen and with QT, and I think they're going to make a concerted effort to try and take those guys away. So who's that leave open? Guys over the middle like Jordan Akins, who's my player to watch. So keep an eye on him. And it kind of plays in with one of the questions we've gotten today from Lewis. And Lewis was asking about what do you expect from Stephen Mitchell. I think Stephen Mitchell could make some plays today because of, like I said, that focus getting paid to QT and Hansen. So my guy's Akins with a sub guy, an addendum in Stephen Mitchell. So watch out for those guys. Stephen Mitchell can play, okay? I know we haven't heard much from him in the past, but I think today is going to be his day.
All right, well, Tom wants to know, who do you think will be the sleeper of the game? And I'm getting choked up just thinking about the tight ends and the production they're going to have.
Be strong.
I'm going to work my way through this. You said Jordan Akins. I'm going to go Darren Fells. I feel like we haven't really seen too much of him, but I like where you're going with this because I do think that with the very depleted wide receiver group, Desean Watson's going to look to his tight ends. We talked about it last week. It didn't happen last week, but maybe with no Brendan Cooks, this is the week that we see a lot of production out of those tight ends because when they're out there, good things always happen. You take Akins, I'll take Fells. I think we got our bases covered.
This is like the type of day where Jordan Akins catches 3 passes for 28 yards, but 2 of them are touchdowns. I could see him showing up and doing something goofy like that in a Jordan Akins sort of way.
And you see them warming up there. You see Jordan Akins, Kahale Waring. You don't have Pharaoh Brown. He's out with a concussion, but you do have Darren Fells. You've got 3 healthy tight ends. And you know what? You're just going to have to go with those for today. And I'll take it, especially with a depleted wide receiver group. These tight ends, they're always willing to catch passes.
Hey, it's Sunday morning. We're all
I'm
waking
making
up,
it a tongue twister. It's not really that complicated. And it's really not that complicated when the tight ends are out there warming up. All right. John wants to know, how can we watch the game? And we get this question a lot, especially in recent weeks, because if you are a DirecTV subscriber or with some of these other providers, you're not getting CBS right now, but you can get the Houston Texans mobile app for free. Just download it. You can watch the game, even if you're in Houston. So download the mobile app. You can watch it there. Listen on Sports Radio 610. That's how you're going to have to watch the game until your CBS comes back. But you know what? It's not a bad option.
Yeah, and I hate to break in here, but our producer-director, Tyler Marcotte, his 2 favorite musical acts are Matchbox 20 and Pitbull. And like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide, we've got a pretty international audience today. We've got Ray in South Texas, Dan in the Rio Grande Valley, Christopher in Idaho. But look at this. Lewis in Cornwall, United Kingdom, Lee in Memphis, Tennessee, Jimmy in Germany, Frederick, our good pal in France, bonsoir Frederick, and Jeevan in Cyprus. So everybody all over the world. And I think that's Cyprus, Texas, not Cyprus, the country. I've made that joke before, but we got lots of people all over checking us out today on Texas Unlimited.
That's my son's name, Jeevan, and he's not in Cyprus. So hi,
lots
Jeevan.
Of Jeevans in the
there.
world.
Lots of
I'm
Jeevans
guessing.
in the world. I'm going to tell my son Jeevan that we had a shout out from his namesake. Cindy wants to know, will it snow in Chicago? I think we covered that. It's not supposed to. Dan wants to know, when will Texans Buzz be on? Well, Dan, it is on Saturday nights at 11, right after extra points. Last night it was on a little bit later because sometimes college football messes with things, but after the late local news, then you've got extra points, and then you've got Texans Buzz. And Saturday night's on ABC.
And that's a question from my guy Toucans, Dan, and he's from down in the Valley, I think, or the Rio Grande Valley. And Dan, I don't know, it's Texans 360, not Texans Buzz. I'm checking on this to find out what happened.
You're right, it is Texans 360.
But it was listed, but Dan is right. It was listed in the guide as Texans Buzz at 10:30, and it didn't show up. I guess Hawaii 5-0 came on or something. So I don't know. Dano was booking them, but we didn't see Texans Buzz or 360. I'm checking on it for you, Dan. I've put out the feelers for the folks that know because I don't. Sadly, I apologize.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that's where you're going with it. I turned on the TV and it was on super late. You were on at 11 with extra points, and then Texans 360, which that's kind of what I assumed you meant by Texans Buzz. That's usually that same time slot, but it's Texans.
It jiggles around in different markets.
They move
throughout
things around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Jeevan wants to know, do you think the wind will affect Kaimi Fairbairn? We certainly hope not. I was looking at the weather forecast. It's very little wind in Soldier Field, considering it's the windy city. So don't expect it to affect Kaimi Fairbairn, not in the way it did a few weeks ago in Cleveland, where it was swirling winds and you really had to keep an eye on those things.
So that's Jeevan, but not your Jeevan,
Not my
presumably. But my Oliver, my 5-year-old, has asked me about 4 times this week, different times of the week, how come Kaimi Fairbairn won't score a touchdown? And that's just not really what he does. He kicks. He scored a lot. He led the NFL in scoring in 2018, but he did not score any touchdowns. And unless they dream up a wacky fake field goal, not going to happen today.
No, I mean, unless it's some crazy trick play,
Right.
but I just certainly don't think so.
I think that's
All right.
down the list on things they want to do offensively for the Texans. So.
All right, there you have it. The Texans are warming up just over 30 minutes until kickoff at Soldier Field. Drew, I think that we need to repeat one more time for those of people out there watching. If you want to watch the game, Houston Texans mobile app. Of course, it's on CBS. Also, you can listen on Sports Radio 610. I think that's going to do it for Texans Unlimited Live, presented by Verizon. Thanks to everyone that worked on this show. Without them, it would not be possible. Tyler Marcotte, Mitchell Moreland, Tyler Suddarth, Nicholas Patterson, Mark Vandermeer, Drew Dougherty, Einav Leibowitz, Amanda Caffey, Jay McDevitt, and all of you out there.
Andrew
Temperley. The list could go on and on. It really, really could. But here we have it. The Bears and the Texans ready to kick off from Soldier Field. Bears looking to break their 6-game losing streak, and the Texans looking to extend their 4-0 streak against the Bears today. We shall see what happens in just 30 minutes. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Texans.
Well, it's finally here. I've been waiting all week just to kick this thing off. I've been rocking away on the edge of my seat. Now I'm ready